Hi there. Hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am a professional psychic medium, and if this reading found you, then maybe it's for you. Okay? Um, if you're looking to book a personal reading with me, you can do that through email or you can submit the form on my website. My website is linked here on my YouTube channel. All right, let's get into this. You may recognize me from TikTok. I was on TikTok, now I'm on YouTube. But let's get into this reading. This is gonna be a longer form reading today. I decided not to do a short because I'm being called to like do a longer reading. So we're really gonna be getting into like the nitty gritty of it today, okay? I also stream 3 days a week on Twitch where I do tarot streams. I also offer like live readings on that, so you guys can find that as well on my I keep going like this as if my channel is over here. On my YouTube channel is the link to my Twitch as well. So okay, let's see what's going on here. I've had the weirdest things coming through. I'm gonna lower the music just a little bit. I feel like it's a little loud. So what came through really loud earlier, I'm also trying out a new mic, so like let me know how it is. I don't think you guys can see it very well, but it's like clipped on over here. Meshes with the black. But what was coming through earlier, which I couldn't place, was Silence of the Lambs, which I thought was like a little interesting. So maybe you've watched Silence of the Lambs. Maybe your name is Clarice. I really don't know, but let's get into this. Let's talk about it. So bottom of our deck always represents our challenge because it represents what we're not seeing, what we're not looking at. You guys have the Four of Cups. You have the Hanged Man. You have the Three of Wands. You also have the Emperor. Okay. So for a lot of you, the challenge here is going to be, I almost want to say like get up and going. It feels like for a lot of you, you've been sitting in, with the Emperor. That does talk about our stability. It talks about our, the Emperor for me is always like a taking control of my own life kind of energy. And it feels like for a lot of you here, the challenge is going to be just that. It's like getting a go on it, getting a move on and starting to really take back control of your own life here. With the Four of Cups, I feel like a lot of you have this defense mechanism of acting almost like too nonchalant. Like, I feel like when, I don't know why this is coming through like this. I feel like you're one of the friends that like when things don't go wrong in your life, you're like, oh yeah, like it is what it is. And all your friends like, oh my God, like, Christine, how are you staying so calm right now? And you're just like, oh, like, it's fine. But really on the inside, you're like literally panicking. That's what this feels like. It's like a little bit of a defense mechanism where you're always kind of ready for things to fall apart. So that way when they do, you kind of just have this like little laugh about it. But I feel like this is really harmful for you because what we think about is what we bring about, right? I call it our mental landscape. Our mental landscape, how we think, shapes our physical world. And so if you're always thinking about how things are never going right for you and everything's kind of like falling apart, that shapes your physical world into a world where things are not going right. Things are falling apart. And so it becomes almost like this self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you see what I mean here? So this is like a really, this is a tough challenge to work with, because it's like on one hand, I feel like some of you, you're very jaded and you're like, oh, I don't want to hope. But then on the other hand, you're like, but I do want to have hope here because I want to get my life back. That's what keeps coming through is like, I want my life back. So let's talk about it. You start out here really strong Leo energy right off the bat here with Strength and the King of Wands. So Strength is literally the card of Leo and King of Wands is masculine fire energy. So that's where like all the Leo is coming from here. Some of you could have Leo in your big three, but it feels like, how do I say that? I almost want to say you're refinding yourself is how this is coming through. I feel like for a lot of you, the way I'm hearing it is like you may have felt like you lost your spark for a little bit here. I feel like you may have felt all of a sudden I'm getting antsy. Like I said that, now I'm getting antsy. So I feel like people may have actually said this to you and you were like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Like you may have gotten really defensive about it, but I feel like you owe it to yourself to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you did lose your spark. Yeah, you did really feel like there's almost this feeling here of like, I don't have anything, like it's almost like a lot of you could be dealing with like some depressive episodes right now because it's almost like when I touch these cards, I almost want to say, like, well, I don't have anything to look forward to. I don't have anything that is really calling to me or keeping me going here. And I feel like this is in part because here we come back to the nonchalantness, right? Because you're telling yourself you have nothing. You're telling yourself that nothing is going on and your world is so gray and so blah. And that's why it's manifesting that way, you know? You've also got the Queen of Pentacles, the King of Cups. If there's one thing about the collective I read for, and you will know this if you've ever watched me or if you watch me on Twitch, we all got a mom wound, okay? The fucking mom wound coming to really fight out here, all right? This is directly connected to what I am hearing is like both parents with the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups here. I feel like there's almost like a learned helplessness that comes through here when I touch on the parents. You know, it almost feels like I just heard mom is always expecting the worst and dad is trying to figure out how to fix it. I feel like that's like the type of household you could have grown up in here. The letter P just came through. The name Paige just came through. But P just came through. So P could be important. Maybe your name starts with P. Maybe you are Paige. This is an interesting one. I want to dig a little bit deeper here. Talk to me about the parents. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got a lot to unpack here, y'all. Yeah, King of Swords, Five of Wands. This is not good energy when we're talking about your household. And then the Sun. Yeah, this is the reason. It feels like for a lot of you, you keep the Tower at the bottom of the deck. You can't fucking make it up. Seven of Pentacles. It's been this way for a while, you know? I feel like, oh, that's personal. Okay. One of my guides just said to me, the bullies you were running from were in your house. Ooh, someone just got clocked. You know, it feels like with the King of Swords here, the Five of Wands and the Sun, it's almost like you were not allowed to enjoy things is what I want to say here. You know, there's almost like this feeling of these are like so holographic. I don't want to like blind anyone. Not holographic, but like shiny, reflective. I can't think. You know, I feel like you could have definitely had these kind of parents that I call them squashers, you know, when they squash us when we're kids, when they make you feel like you're not allowed to like the things that you really wanted to like here, or like, it's almost like there was nothing, again, I keep hearing it, there's nothing to look forward to. That's like from your childhood. That's from your household. Strength again. And this is something that I feel like you've persevered through. I do feel like this is something you've overcome as like an adult. Like I feel like I'm talking to an adult. But I do feel like it lingers in your energy because it keeps you from being able to enjoy your own life, but also to create a life that you even want to live. You know, a really hard, tough pill to swallow, I always say, is that, and I tell all my clients, not all of them, but like a lot of my clients, I tell them this, it is our responsibility to create a world or like a life that we view worth living for ourselves. And that's kind of what this is. You know, I feel like for a long time, you guys lived for other people's ideals. Like I feel like you lived for to be the perfect daughter or the perfect son for your parents, and now I feel like you're finally in a place where you're kind of deconstructing this idea of like, well, I'm never going to be perfect. You know, it's like I'm never, if I set that bar for myself at perfection and I'm always climbing to reach it, I'm never actually going to reach it. Is that not self-harm? You know, that's what this really feels like to me. In your clarifying row, you've got the Star and the King of Swords. So King of Swords twice is really lack of emotion here is what this feels like. It feels like you probably had a very harsh masculine figure in your life. This could be the dad. It doesn't have to be. Please keep in mind gendered energy. They are null and void with one another. But it feels like with the Star and the King of Swords here, like you had the kind of masculine energy around you that did, this is really harsh, I'm hearing it, so I'm going to say it, like thrive on bringing you down. I feel like this was probably someone that, you know, King of Swords says things to hurt us. That's kind of a King of Swords energy. When it's outside the planning and like the strategizing of King of Swords, he can be someone that's like, why are you wearing that? You look ugly. You know, it's very abrasive and it's very blunt. And I feel like with the Star here, I do feel like you kind of had to do a lot of healing to get through this, or like a lot of healing to recognize within yourself that this was a reflection of that person. You know, I feel like you're aware of that. Like, I feel like you're aware that the fact that your parents can't enjoy anything or caregivers can't enjoy anything is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. But now it's like, okay, well, I've internalized that. So now where do I go with it? With the Eight of Pentacles here and the Hierophant, for a lot of you, I feel like you've been fighting for some sort of commitment here. Maybe this is commitment with yourself, commitment with like other things. But it feels like, I really do feel like it's commitment with self, y'all. I got to be honest here. You know, I feel like a lot of you are trying to, again, it's, why is Wheel of Fortune coming through? Wheel of Fortune? Maybe you watched Wheel of Fortune today. Very random, but it feels like almost maybe like spinning the wheel, like spin the wheel and land on something and try it. You know, like in terms of how to not repeat the mistakes of your parents here. You know, like, how do I break that cycle? I'm aware of it. I'm aware that this is going on, but I don't know how to get rid of it. Talk to me about the King of Swords. I want to unpack this just a little bit for you guys. Okay. That was a lot. King of Cups, Six of Cups, Ace of Cups, and Hierophant. Oh, I got it. You had a parent that only loved you under certain conditions. Ooh, this is toughy. Okay, there's something here about, again, we clarified the King of Swords. This could be both parents or one. It doesn't have to be. But this is a very big wound around your parents loved you only when you were doing things that they wanted you to do. So that's like, oh, go to college for X-ray tech. And I love you. But like, if you go to college to be like an English major like I was, then we don't love you and we don't support you. There's almost like, it's almost like, why are old game shows coming through? Jeopardy? Maybe that's how you feel about this. It's Jeopardy of like, maybe like, I went to school for X-ray tech, so give me like Love My Child for 500. I don't know. This is real twisted, y'all. I'm going to be honest with you. This is like not the sign of a good parent. Okay. This is definitely why I feel like you're having this issue now of like, you've lost your spark, is because in partial, you've been squashed your whole life. You know, you've been this person that's been living for other people's, again, ideals, expectations of you. King of Wands in the challenge. Now you don't know what you like. Now you don't know where to begin, where to start. Yeah, Three of Wands. That's inaction. It's like not going anywhere. Let me get a little bit more about this, please. Thank you. Yeah, Four of Wands, Four of Pentacles. I feel like for some of you, rejection sensitive dysphoria is coming through. You keep your interests like really quiet, like really, really close to yourself. Also, this is the second time this has happened, so I'm going to address it. When my ears heat up during a reading, when they get really hot, it is my symbol for mental illness. I am not a medical professional. If that is you, I would definitely seek the advice of a medical professional. You know, rejection sensitive dysphoria is definitely something we should be talking about in therapy. Oh, and it's the mom again, the mother wound. It's so ugly today. Yeah, I feel like, again, with the Empress coming out as I'm talking about mental illness, probably is from mom's side of the family. But with the Four of Wands here, the Four of Pentacles, and then the Empress, I feel like, again, a lot of you lived for other people's ideals. And what's coming through is really this is a walloping reading for someone. This is a very, very ugly truth to hold within yourself, but it's like, no amount of success can make someone who doesn't love you, love you. I hate that. I hate giving that message. This is that moment where you guys have to really start sitting with yourself of like, okay, if this person doesn't approve of me, if they don't love me, if they don't support me, it doesn't matter how successful I am. If they don't love and support me now, they are never going to. Okay, that's what this message is about. And I feel like some of you now, it's time to find that spark again. Okay, you have to remember, I feel like this reading really boils down to also that your spark comes from you. Nobody can tell you what you can and can't do, what you can and can't enjoy. Okay, I always tell my clients, as long as you're not out here like replaying Jack the Ripper, people really can't tell you much. Okay. So right now, I feel like a lot of you need to go back to childhood, go back to exploring all these passions that you used to have before you were squashed, and see if they hold up for you. You know, I used to draw a lot as a child, and that was squashed out of me. I returned to it recently within the past year, and I did it for a couple months, and I decided, you know what? Actually, I'm not that passionate about this. I really wish I was. Maybe if I had nurtured it, maybe it would have, but that time has passed. It's not for me anymore. And that's okay. I'm not going to, crucify myself because it's not my passion anymore. So go back to the drawing board, figure out what, re-find your spark. This should be exciting. I feel like a lot of you, this is a daunting task, but finding our spark is something that is exciting for us. So with this, I send you out into the world, find your spark, live your life, because other people don't get to tell you how to do that, okay? Like and subscribe. I keep forgetting. This is YouTube. If you like this reading, if it resonates with you, you can like. If you want to subscribe, if you're part of the family, you can do that too. And like I said, you can catch me on Twitch 3 days a week, streaming tarot, and I will leave you all with that. Bye.